Hello, everybody.
That looks really big today.
It really does. So we are planning to stitch, but we're not going to stitch quite yet. So maybe we can make that something. I want it to flip.
There we go.
Until we're going to stitch.
Yes.
And then we'll stick something in front of Sarah's face.
Oh my.
So
what a
welcome
day.
to Tuesday.
Wow.
This came super fast.
It did. We are frantically packing and loading the U-Haul truck to take to the show. We set up tomorrow, and it has been
totally prepared. Yep.
A crazy.
It has been kind of a crazy day, and yesterday was a crazy day.
Yes.
So bless you guys. You just keep coming in, which is fantastic. We love to see you. It's like crap.
Yeah. I can't help but laugh, but everybody that came in today, they were like, "So, are you busy?"
Yep.
I'm like, a little bit. But it is.
So we're gonna be good. It's gonna be fantastic.
And it was nice to have the break.
And
between the crazy.
It's always good.
Yes.
Of course, we're crazy all the time.
We're crazy.
So just us, not the store. Us in particular, like personally, at least for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for you.
It's okay. That's fair. It's a true statement. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, 2 more days until we get to see all of you there. 1 more day for us until the fun starts, because
until we realize all the things we forgot.
Yeah, we start packing up and
unloading tomorrow. So we get to set up. You guys can't come in, but we'll be there tomorrow getting it all pretty for you guys for Thursday.
Absolutely.
So then we get to have a slumber party.
Yeah, at Carolyn's house.
And she lives lots closer, so she's kind enough to let us crash at her place for Novi weekend.
Yes.
And so it's fun. Girls' night.
We don't get those
we don't get those very often.
Right.
Jeff was like, "Wait, you're doing what?" I'm like, this is. He's like, "We didn't talk about this." I'm like, "I didn't know I had to." I mean, you didn't just know.
It's been.
He was like, "Oh, okay." But no, we didn't talk about this. I'm like, I didn't know I had to. I'm so sorry. But oh well.
Yeah.
So I have something poking out the back of my head. I have like this big loop of hairs. I can see behind me. It's really freaking me out. Oh. I'm not sure what it is. It's like weird. I'm just gonna sit this way.
Sit that way. Hi.
What up? All right. So today we are going to take the last 3 weeks and moosh it all together and show you how to take all of it and combine it and make something. Mm-hmm. So
we're going to be talking about the steps that we're doing, but we won't be taking a ton of time to explain.
We're not going to go in that minute detail like
steps.
We've been doing. So it's going to say we hit this button and we hit that button, and then we go on and we're going to do the next part.
That's right.
To show you. So we're going to start with scanning, and then we'll move on and we'll do all of those little steps. And we actually have, we're going to stitch. That's the plan. We're not going to stitch the whole thing because you guys don't need to. It's like watching paint dry, right?
Yeah.
Very hypnotizing and all of that. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Lisa.
But we'll stitch a little bit so you guys can see how it all works, and then answer any questions you guys have. And then you can come and see it all in person at Novi.
That's right. That's right.
But we've had a couple of you guys come in and say how much you appreciate the.
Thankfully, didn't put the needle down.
Are we going to sew first?
I just hit the start button, and that's where it went.
I'm like,
so
what?
No, that wasn't my plan.
Okay, I was like, what are we going to do? I didn't know that was on the schedule.
Yeah, awesome.
We're gonna sew
a 3-dimensional Wonder Woman today.
Yeah.
So
So strange. Okay, so there we go.
Okay.
We hadn't turned the machine on.
Wakey.
We've been doing other things today.
All right. So let's move over to the
screen. This is the Solaris. This should hopefully look familiar at this point. Mm-hmm. And we have our Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. Isn't that like the scene change music, right? That's close. Anyway,
I think
maybe a little off key. but
I
you know.
think
All right.
everybody knew what it was.
So we are attaching the scanning mat. So you can see that little bit right there, the corner of that. Remember not to cover up that black strip.
Yep.
All right. So on screen, we have touched our fern leaf and we are going to scan. Today, we are going to choose the line design. And what that means is, yep, it is, but it's better to check,
there
right?
We go.
And so what that means is we want it to look and create line images for us out of the lines that are on that. So we don't want just a background that we can draw over, and we don't want it to try to color those in. We just want it to create an outline for us is basically what that means. So it's going to do its thing. And we are just going to wait for it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're so patiently waiting. We're so good at being patient, right?
We are.
Is that her blind
Somebody
sticks?
that's ready.
Wait, what? I'm so confused.
All right.
All right.
So we are going to slide this image down a little bit, get rid of.
Keep all of her, but get rid of the magnets.
I don't know.
Perfect. Keep her head. Get rid of the magnet.
Right. It's feels like I'm.
All right.
There we go.
So we also have talked about having a mouse connected might be a little bit easier.
That would be so much easier.
We were totally prepared for that today. Not. So we're using our fingers here. So you can see we've got a really nice outline. So the difference between the illustration and the line, if we had that illustration selected, we would see black in her hair instead of just the outline of where her hair is. So there we are. You can see that shading a little bit, but it's not actually filled in as of yet. So at this point, we have a beautiful line image, assuming all of those lines are closed. If you've been paying attention, you know the difference between an open and a closed image or design piece.
Design, yeah.
All right. So
should we get rid of the image in the
let's
background?
go ahead and get rid of that. Yep. So up at the top there, we have the ability to basically fade out our scanned image. So
there we go.
We can see what we've got going on there. We've got that really nice picture there. So at this point, this is going to be kind of like our coloring book at this point. So on the previous screen, Sarah went ahead and changed our stitch from a zigzag, which was a satin stitch, to a line running stitch. So it's just going to be a nice thin outline, which is really great. We certainly could have made that satin stitch really skinny, but sometimes that eats up your fabric. So a running stitch is certainly going to be a much cleaner, safer stitch, especially if you're stitching on something that's not super dense. Because that thin satin stitch, if you try to make that work, can sometimes really eat up your fabric. Looks nice if it works, but it doesn't always work. So from here, where are we going to go?
What do you say we put a little texture in her hair with like some quilting designs?
Sounds fantastic.
And then we'll fill in a couple of the options on her and give her a little bit of stitches. So
sounds great.
I'm going to go into my properties button here. This is the region property, which is where our decorative fill stitches are. I'm going to select the little circle bubble here to get my decorative stitches. And I think we have that like broken line one, this one, which could look like hair when we turn it in the right direction and make it a little bit smaller. So she usually has dark hair, so we'll make that black.
All right.
And
so what's the button? We always forget.
That is our
bucket. Don't forget the bucket. So we want to bucket fill, and then oh no, look what happens. So what does that mean, guys? That means that
there's
has a broken. There's a hole in the bucket. Dear Eliza, what are we gonna do? We need to find where that line image isn't closed. So we need to zoom in. See, this is actually good. This is a perfect learning experience. And way to zoom in right on her boobs. All right.
I mean, that was totally planned. So I'm going to
All right,
pan.
we're going to pan. And so what we need to do is we need to go around and look for where that is. And it's actually, there's one right there. So how do we fix that?
Well, we got to fill in the hole.
We got to fill in the hole. We got to paste it.
Yes.
So we're going to draw a line.
We're going to draw our lines, and we're going to go into our line property. And you have some options, but we want this to be open. So I would choose the regular pencil.
And literally just give you the ability to draw.
Yes. And I'm going to make this line a no-sew line because I'm probably, you all know that I'm a lefty. So this is going to be sloppy, and we don't want that to stitch out later on. So this is how I typically fill in a gap is I make that whatever it is that I draw in a non-sewing line, so I don't have to do it perfect. It could, because no one is ever going to see these stitches. So I've got the no sew feature selected, and I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit more.
Absolutely.
And then I'm going to touch the hand button at the top so that I can pan over to my space. And now I'm going to touch that feature, and I'm going to just literally close the gap. So, yes.
So you guys can see now that there's no gap.
There's no gap. So I cleared that gap. And then I think we probably should take a peek to make sure that there aren't any other
totally agree. So we're going to pan
spaces.
around the rest of that outline and make sure that everything, so looks to me like there's a gap on her ear right there.
Yep.
So basically we would be giving her a black ear if we don't close that in as well. So we can zoom in and perfect. All right. So now we can pan back out and move that around. Looks like her earring has a gap. Those little star earrings she wears only in the old show.
Yep, right there.
Right there.
It does. See if I.
Yeah,
you gotta
touch the tool. It's a crazy little thing in there.
Well, that was really bad.
That's all right.
That's why we don't.
Sew it. All right, so let's zoom back out and see what else we can find. Those look good. So now we do have a little bit of hair underneath the arms, which is not actually armpit hair. So we want to keep that there. And we want to make sure that that looks okay.
Looks like there
so
could be a little bit of gap right there. What do you think?
Maybe a space. You can zoom in and see.
Yep. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe. Let's just be on the safe side. There we go.
Okay.
It's clear. It's
clear as mud now, right? No,
Yeah.
just kidding. That looks pretty good. Let's swoosh over to the other side. Looks good. That corner right there. That looks good. Yeah. All right. So now we're ready to actually color in her hair again.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to our bucket fill for the region. So again, we need to select the right tool. And hello, Miss Shirley. And we're going to tap all three of those sections. And look at that. Now we don't have it going everywhere. And it looks like she has green hair.
Yes.
Kind of strange.
She looks like, who's the gal that has green hair?
Poison Ivy?
Poison Ivy, yeah.
Poison Ivy.
Like Poison Ivy, but it's
not. See, we totally know our people. All right. So we're not going to fill this whole thing in, but you guys can already get the idea of how to do that. So you decide what color you want where, and you're going to tap that region and tap that color. So at this point, let's go ahead and fill in one of the stars. So we're going to go back to our region properties, and we're going to completely fill this guy in. So generally, I think her costume is like blue with white stars, but we can maybe make a blue star. So let's just choose blue and then tap one of those stars or not.
Yep.
Now we do have an undo button.
I do. So we'll make that a little bit bigger.
We just don't want you guys to have to watch so much stitching
so
that we're going to be here forever.
There
so,
we go.
We need a bucket and tap a star.
There we
go. So you guys can see what those would look like where we're at. So we could continue this literally until we've colored the entire thing. So kind of like your coloring book, you can go back and forth between decorative stitches and complete fills, stipples, whatever it is that you want, or you can leave an area blank. So my my fabric happens to be buttermilk felt, which is kind of a nice skin color. So instead of having to color in for skin color, we could leave that. Absolutely. Which would not be a normal thing depending upon what color that you have there. So that would be an option depending upon how you choose that. You can say, oh, well, I don't need to do that because I've got, you know, that color already selected for that. So that's one less thing that you would have to stitch. So you could literally go through and select all of those different pieces, and kind of, you know, coloring is very therapeutic. So you guys can color on your embroidery machine. This is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, it's lots of fun.
I really enjoy coloring. So this is fun for me. All right. So we're going to move on so that you guys can see how all of that then would come together. So the next page that we come to is going to be our editing screen. So we can now play with what we filled. So how do we do that? So up at the top, you can see we have that dark with those wavy lines in there. So what can we do? We can make those closer lines. We can change the angles. We can do all of those things. So Sarah's going to go start at the top and kind of work her way down.
So I'm going to make these, I'm going to go down as small as we can because it's her hair. So we want to have a little bit of movement in there. And then on this machine, as I'm making these changes, they are going to sort of start to auto-populate on here. Some machines, you will actually have to hit a preview button. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to change the angle. So I'm going to select the second button here. And I would like the stitches to go the next direction so that they're going up and down. So and it doesn't, at this point, it doesn't really,
or negative doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As long as we're going the right angle.
That's right. So we need to make that.
I believe that would be correct.
And so if you are unsure about your angles, again,
just hit okay and check the preview. Okay,
yep, it's going to change. And now you can see her her hair is going down, up and down. So that looks a little bit more like hair.
Yep. And you notice that that was going at 15-degree increments. So if you wanted it to look like it was blowing in the breeze, you could change it a little less of an angle or whatever, but you could play a little bit, I guess is the point.
Yes,
so
absolutely. And then this button here would allow us to put stitches around the outside of it. So we don't need to have an outline on this. So we're going to leave that as off. Always double check to make sure that yours is off if you don't want it on, or it's on if you do want it on.
Yep. So depending upon your machine, that default could be at either one. So they are different depending upon the machine and which upgrade you have installed. So we can't tell you exactly what yours is going to be because there's many different settings even inside of a machine depending upon the upgrade that you have.
Absolutely. And I just want to point out one thing. So we don't just have one section of her hair. There are actually 3 sections of her hair. So you can do each one of these sections separately. But the other thing that we could have done at the very beginning was we could have hit this little link button here. If I link this, and you do this after you have already adjusted one of the settings, you're going to get little asterisk signs on your pieces. And that's because there are multiple settings set for this type of stitch. So if I go in here, I want to make all of those changes at the same time. So I'm going to go back and do that. And you can see down at the bottom, it's going to start populating those directions over there as well. Oops, I went plus before. So if you want to make changes to all of the types of stitches that are in that particular grouping. So again, because we had the top and then we had the 2 little pieces underneath her arms, we wanted to make sure that we linked them all because we want all of those settings to duplicate.
Right.
And then you don't
Otherwise, you have to remember what you did and you have to go in. And in this case, we'd have to change them 3 times. Sometimes you have to change that lots of times. So if you remember in that first week, we scanned in a mandala. When you're doing something like that and you have fill stitches, you could have 20 areas that are that particular type of fill.
Yes.
That's not easy to find them all and remember which settings you did where. So that little link, which is representative of chain link. So like an actual chain being sectioned together, that is that representative icon there. and it's next to the arrows, that is going to change everything of like type.
Yes, it links them all together. This is a random shift button. This pattern is really already random. So we can make changes up or down, left or right to offset the positions. And I apologize, here is your random shift. This one allows you to, it's like rolling the dice kind of, and you get
it's that kaleidoscopy.
Yes, you get a different section of stitches that do not look like this. And then depending on the machine that you have will depend upon whether or not you have your type A at the bottom. So you can make a decision with that.
So do you think that would make those wavy?
Probably not, but we can certainly try.
The only way to find out is to push the buttons, and you can always put them back to normal. So I just was,
so it just gives you,
it gives you longer lines in some areas and shorter squished lines in other areas.
And again, it's hair, so it doesn't
it can
really
be
matter.
Whatever. There's no right or wrong in that one, but you can have fun with it.
Absolutely. And for your thickness, because this is hair, we could certainly leave this at like a triple stitch. But if you wanted this to be a single stitch, you would just touch this button over here, and that would decrease the amount of times that the machine goes over those particular stitches. So the thickness of the line, and again, the easiest way to describe that is like a single stitch versus a triple stitch. Keeping in mind that depending on the pattern, there are times when the machine has no choice but to go over
travel
top.
Back over an area,
because that's the only way to get to that particular spot. So that does happen sometimes, and no matter how organized you plot everything out in here, this machine is going to choose where to start and where to stop, and it isn't
it
always,
has not always got rhyme or reason to it.
No, occasionally it does not go where you think it should, and there isn't anything that you can do to reorder that sequence. This is just how the machine chooses to do that by some, I'm sure, software,
some algorithm anywhere programmed in there that we can't find and rewrite. So
absolutely. So getting off of the lines, if we use the button over here and we arrow over until we get to the next type of stitch, you can also see there is a little red box around the blue star here. So this is where we can adjust the types of stitching that we have for the fill stitch. So we have auto direction. So if you, the machine is smart, so we'll give you a decent choice, but you can also change that manually. Occasionally we change directions. So if I have 3 circles sort of on top of each other, and I want all of those circles to be the same color, but I want them to look different, by changing the angle of the stitch, it changes how the light reflects
on the
thread, which can sometimes change the color. So that's how you get movement, and
gives you a little bit more dimensional appearance, even though there isn't one.
So you can pick to choose how you would like that to be. This one here is our density. You don't have a ton of choices on here, so it lets you go down to 90% density, and you do have a little bit of adjustment at the top too, just that 10%,
but not a ton.
It doesn't let you go crazy. It
doesn't let you pack it in or take too much off.
Right. We briefly discussed pull compensation. I always say let the computer do its thing, and then if it's not correct, then you can go back and fill it in. And really the times that you're going to see this are when you're doing things that are circular. Those are the most, or when you have heavy stitching with outlines. So we don't have a ton of heavy stitching in here, but if we had chosen to do this whole design as a fill stitch, and if you got done with all of the stitching on the inside and your lines did not match up, the outline, there was a gap between your satin, or not your satin stitch, but your fill stitch and your outline stitch, then you would go in and you would adjust your pull compensation to try to compensate for the movement of the fabric. The other thing that can help the movement of the fabric would be your undersewing. So if you have a lot of stitching, doing that undersewing, turning that feature on, it will lay a bed of light stitches underneath to help secure your fabric to your stabilizer to give you a better stitch out. So those are some things that you can play around with. And the best way to learn what these features are is to literally put simple shapes in there, simple circles, simple squares, and do one with adjusted pull compensation and do one manually. That is really the only way that you will really understand how pull compensation and undersewing can affect your stitches. There isn't anything that we can say that's really going to make it so that really
you gotta see it.
Sinks in. You really just have to sort of play with that feature.
So, and we've talked about that little memory button, which I know is slightly off your screen. It's right at the bottom next to the set button. We can probably zoom out enough. So she's pointing to it.
Not the
the memory button right there. That is where you would want to save before you go into the embroidery, so that you would have the ability after your test stitch to come back in here and make those simple changes without having to start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have that in the memory, you could pull it up and very simply make those changes and then stitch it the other way. So without or with the pull comp the second time, and have that adjusted. So did we do the line? We didn't do the line.
So
here, lots of change here.
Yeah. This is the stitch length option. You can leave it as is. You can adjust it a little bit. We mostly, most sewing machines, your line reference is actually in millimeters. So I think we kind of get used to looking at a 2 or 2.5 millimeter stitch length because that's what our sewing machines are set at. This is actually in inches. So it's 0.080 inches, which is pretty small for a stitch. But it's designed to give you a decent looking outline stitch. When I am quilting, I typically increase
make it a little
this.
bit bigger.
I usually am at 0.10 or 0.12 personally. That is where I typically adjust the stitch length. But again, some of that is just personal preference. You just kind of get to play around with the length of the stitches to see what you like.
So I would like to note before we move on, Sarah changed this from a satin to that running stitch at the very beginning. But if you hadn't done that and you wanted to do it here, all you have to do is tap that stitch at the top and it takes you back to that page where you can select those stitches. The only thing that's not on this, and you can do this with your region properties as well and change the type of stitch. If while you're in there, you're like, yeah, I don't like how that looks, you can make those adjustments on this page as well. The only thing you can't select is the no sew option. That's the only one that disappears once you get to this page.
So once you have all of your settings the way that you want them to be, everybody's machine is going to have a slightly different version of this warning. But this is letting you know that you are about to leave the IQ designer or the design center portion of the machine. And if you have not saved it yet, it will not be saved if you leave this.
You leave this page.
So once you say okay to continue, these this image is not going to be saved. These settings are not going to be saved. So if you wanted to go ahead and save those, we already did. You would hit cancel, you would hit your memory, and you would save that. But we've already done that. So if we wanted to come back, we could go back and change that. So we are going to say okay. And
there's our embroidery screen.
That's right. So we are here. And we have the 3 different colors that we chose. So Harbor Green happens to be the color of her hair. And then we have cobalt blue for the star and then black as the outline. And just like any other embroidery design, you have your editing features here. You have the places where you can change the colors of your design. This is a regular embroidery design, so you can do anything in here that you could with any other embroidery design that you pulled up. The default setting size of this design happens to be 7.1 inches wide, by 9.31 inches tall. That information is up here at the top of the screen. That will always be at the top of your screen. So it will always tell you the size of your design. So should we just embroider?
Let's rock and roll.
All right. So we're not going to make any changes here. We're just going to hit the embroidery button here. And the first thing that it's going to stitch out is her hair. So we're going to put our thread stand
put stuff
back up
in
here.
front of Sarah's face now. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Sarah. Let's scooch the thread back in there.
Actually, it's on your face now.
Oh, well, bummer. Let me move. There we go. That should work. Are we still? Yeah, we're okay.
Kind of looks like we're threaded.
I think we're still good.
Yep.
All right. I think we're good.
Yeah.
So if when you do your design, you should certainly try to get it in the size that you want it to be when you stitch before you move all the way forward. But if you get to this point and it doesn't fit in the hoop size that you want, you certainly could have resized on that previous editing page.
Mm-hmm.
But we did good. So
yeah,
we're going to keep
and
going.
So I'm going to put my hand over this because I'm going to just slide over here so that you all can see a little bit of the embroidery fields here without making anybody sick.
All right. Oh, yeah, we're still threaded. I thought that I pulled it out, but I guess I'm good. All right. So this is going to do that. Lots of starts and stops.
There's going to be a lot of starts and stops. Yeah, this is that. This is what happens when you.
This is what happens when you do those decorative stitches in the quilting options. It does a lot of great job, but it does a lot of starting and stopping. So the total stitch time on this is actually 4 minutes, but it's going to take a lot longer because it's going to have to start and stop so many times.
Yes.
So what should we talk about?
I think we should talk about the sewing show.
I think we should too. So we are going to be in booth 221.
Yes.
221.
Mm-hmm. And we're doing a make it and take it. Actually, Karen, I say we.
Yeah, we're going to just be watching her.
Yes.
I'm sure we're going to make her nervous.
We're going to be like,
whoa,
we
see you.
Yeah.
We're both doing the same. We're both like, yeah, we're going to get her.
Oh, she's probably watching.
She's like,
going,
oh, crap.
Guys.
So it's going to be super cute. We have some really great things that we didn't tell Jean we were going to do. So are you kidding? Oh, it came out.
It did.
It did. Okay. I can fix that.
It made a little gunk underneath it. I saw that.
Yeah.
So while we fix that,
just gotta. Ooh. It didn't like that at all.
No, it did not. So we have, we're going to be in booth 222, I think, and 224. So we're across the aisle from Karen, and she's going to do a cute mug rug. And it says, "I will climb a smallish mountain for you." It's very cute. The mug rug, I designed the mug rug. It's a blank mug rug, which means there's two separate files. There's a top and a base. So if you want to customize the embroidery design, you can do that, which will allow you to it's
yeah, that worked really well. And delete the gunk on the bottom.
And the multiple layers, maybe. You didn't take it out, did you?
I didn't.
Okay.
I was hoping that it was. Oh yeah, that made a mess. Do you think I have any? Let me see those.
Yeah, we have scissors. Okay.
Oh, that made a big mess.
It did. Well, there's like no stabilizer in that corner.
It missed right there. Son of a pumpkin.
Oh my gosh, best laid plans, right? Okay. So we are gonna do a really adorable mug rug. In the Make and Take booth by Lisa fixes this. Maybe you should just start over.
I think so.
So
let's just flip that upside down.
Sometimes it doesn't go as expected, and you just got to go with it, right? So while she's doing that, I'll talk about our mug rug. So the mug rug is 2 pieces. So we talk a lot about customizing things around here and needing to move around in the embroidery design in order to get things where you want them to be. So this design was created so that you could do the top of your mug rug and then add
whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want. If you want to use cute designs from someplace else, then you can just throw those designs in. Once you finish the embellishing part, you can then just add the backing piece as your last part. So it's so easy to add designs in our machine using the add button that I basically just split the mug rug into 2 separate pieces so that you would be able to customize that a little bit. So, and we've talked before about the card bundles. So the design that we'll be doing with the mug rug is one of the designs that comes in the card bundle that we finally received from OESD. So we do have those card bundles in stock finally. They are $99.95. And if you buy the card bundle at the show, you get the mug rug design for free. So we do have that, and then you can have, you can gift your friends a mug rug that matches the card that you sent them, which would make a really nice gift. I know a bunch of people that are doing greeting card exchanges this year because it's just been a weird year, and some friends that are doing like a recipe
I don't know
exchange.
if that fixed it or not, but we're gonna just keep going.
Okay.
Let's rewind the bobbin just to make sure though.
So anyways, we have that. We have some fantastic deals on some machines. We are taking some fabric bundles that we've never had here before, which should be fun. It's a good place for you to stock up on some fabric in case you're low, or add
not.
to your stash in case you need more in your stash. But we will also have Cindy there with us. So
love Cindy.
Yes.
Can't wait to see Cindy.
We're excited to see her. It's been a couple years since we've had her around. And we're definitely excited about that.
We're going to call that close enough.
We're going to call that close enough. Yeah, it's just hair.
I'm not sure if I'm in the groove or not, but
it's good enough. So we're back to stitching here after our little snafu.
Nothing. Don't you guys just love it when your fabric pops out of the hoop?
So much fun.
Especially when you're live.
That's how you know it's live.
Right? That was totally not planned.
There was no cut and then make that
magic happen.
Yeah,
yes.
there was
no movie magic there. Nope. So yeah, there were a couple people who asked us about those card bundles.
Yes.
I know Bev was one of them. I believe Lisa was another one.
Mm-hmm. And I think Melissa was one.
And I believe Melissa was another. Yeah. So we need to make sure that we hang on to.
We still have
those,
some here. Yes.
Those for them. If you are coming to the show and pick it up there, great, no problem. And I'm pretty sure we could probably hook them up with the same deal. Because we're good like that.
Yeah.
But hopefully that's in the
close enough
vicinity of.
Yeah. It'll be all right. It's just hair. Hair kind of goes wherever it wants.
Right. If it's outside of, I know I always have alfalfa sprouts hanging around somewhere, right? So should Wonder Woman.
That's just what happens, right? She's moving so fast, the hair is all over. It's got to be all over the place.
Yeah, if she's flying, it's got to be everywhere, right?
Right. That's like one of those weird things, right? Why is their hair always so great in movies? Like, it should be a mess like it is in real life.
Absolutely.
And then if you put that much hairspray in it, like, how do you actually comb that out? And have hair left? Yeah, we totally got off topic.
Yeah, but that's okay.
But
so we've got lots of really great stuff.
Yeah.
And Cindy is great for all of you scan and cut people out there.
Mm-hmm.
She is totally a scan and cut guru.
She is.
So you got lots of, I'm sure she's got some trick up her sleeve that we don't know about.
That we don't know yet.
It'll be an interesting, fun. We should probably take an iron.
Mm-hmm.
Sidebar.
Yes, it's on my list.
just popped in my head. But yeah, so lots of fun things that I think we've got going on. We've got some really great bundles. We've got some bundles of things that we didn't even know we were going to do. We just kind of came up with as we were going, and it'll be fun. So we're going to have Hayden there, which it's never dull when Hayden's around.
No, and this is his first time at the show.
His first time at the show.
So, yeah. I'm excited to see if he enjoys himself.
I mean, it's a very different vibe than it is here. I mean, we certainly try to have the same kind of fun that we have here, but it's not the same as working a day here by any stretch.
No.
But
it's lots of fun.
But yeah, he's gonna have fun. And Carolyn's gonna be there, and she'll be checking y'all out, not in a weird way, as in ringing you up at the register.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carolyn.
Yeah,
and
sometimes
the things that come out just are like, wow, that was so wrong.
That's just
no.
Hopefully, we were the only ones thinking that. Not now, but
not now, because that is bad. But so yeah, she's gonna be manning the scanner there and bringing everything up, and Karen's gonna be manning the make and take, and we'll be doing whatever needs to be done.
That's right, filling in wherever
it needs to be.
Hopefully, selling lots of sewing machines. So
absolutely.
If you've been thinking about it. We got some good machines in. We got some decent stock, which we not
do.
Sure
we have a
about.
truck full,
and
we wore Gene out telling him what to load.
Yeah,
he's like, man, I'm gonna have to go home and take a break.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So yeah, we're definitely excited about it, and
absolutely.
We may have mentioned this once or two
times.
Yeah, once or twice. You know, I always think it's interesting. People probably, they don't always know. When you buy a sewing machine, it's not like buying a car. When you buy from a dealer, that is the dealer that provides you with your classes and your support.
Yep.
So the most important thing that we can tell you is to buy your dealer. Of course, we want you to buy us as your dealer. But when you buy a machine from us, part of what you are paying in that price is for your classes, your warranty, and your support.
Yep.
Sewing machine manufacturers, they don't pay us to repair your machine. And if you did not purchase a machine from us, and there is warranty work to be done on a machine, the dealer that there is no money there. So that it's not like taking your Ford to a different Ford dealer. And they get paid to do the service on it. It doesn't work that way in the sewing machine industry. So if you are going out to the show tomorrow, and not tomorrow, but Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, and you purchase a machine at the show, whoever you purchase your machine from is going to be your dealer. That is the person that is going to be providing you with all of your support. So make sure that you pick who you want, because it's important to do that.
Absolutely.
And I think
that none of us are trying to be mean when we say, I'm sorry, we can't help you if you pick the wrong one, or a different one, I guess maybe is the right way to say that. But, you know, and that's why it is so important, is because we'd love to be able to help you.
Yeah. But
all you got to do is
buy a machine from us. That's right. Because the reality is that's how we make money. You know, we make money by selling you machines. We make a little bit of money on selling you all of the other stuff. But the truth is, the reason we can do all of the other things is because we sell sewing machines.
Absolutely. And that's the bread and butter.
If we don't sell sewing machines, we don't get to do the other stuff.
We don't get to do the other stuff. All right. So I've changed the thread to blue. So we're going to do that fill stitch for that star. So that was what we added second. So that's why that's what's stitching second. So that's going to stitch here pretty quick. Shouldn't take too long at all.
No.
And then it will do the outline. So since that's all. Otherwise, we would, of course, had many other colors on a normal. This isn't obviously normally what we would do. We would have other things in there.
Absolutely.
But
so the reason we mentioned buying your dealer is because we are the brother dealer at the sewing show.
At the show.
But we are also a baby lock dealer. So bring us your baby lock quotes and we will match it.
Take care of you.
That's right. So we wanna be your dealer. We want you to come here and we want you to have fun with us and yeah.
So just because we won't have baby lock machines there
doesn't mean
we can't take care of you.
That's right. So we might not be able to send you home with that machine. They would probably really frown upon us loading those in the back of the truck.
That might be a problem.
But you can come on down to the store because Jean and Tony will be here.
Absolutely. So you could drive right here and
get your
take
machine.
care of it that same day. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So because we will be open at the store as well. So we definitely are looking forward to having a lot of fun and
it's a really thin line.
It is a very thin line.
She's drawn those eyebrows on with a pencil.
Yeah. It'll be it's not going to be seen very well, but that's okay. We should have done a zigzag stitch on this particular type of material, but this is how you realize.
This is how you go, oh, yep,
that's right.
Got to change that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like nap in this particular
fabric.
Yeah, it won't be too bad though. It's coming out better than you'll still be able to tell. We're watching it intently.
Yes,
like we
you know that hypnotic
yeah
needle. You just get lost in it.
Mm-hmm.
I did actually go through and color this all in. I should stitch it out.
Yeah.
And then maybe in my spare time, show them next time what it would be all stitched.
It is still so amazing to me what exactly these machines can do.
Do inside the machine.
They have
it's absolutely crazy.
So far. I mean, we both had Vikings for like our first embroidery machines. Those little 4x4, 5x7 embroidery machines. Comparatively, I mean, putting that design on that card.
Oh.
And if you wanted to do something bigger, you had to multi-hoop it. There was no way around it because you didn't make anything bigger than that. So, I mean, just how far they have really come. I mean, it's amazing.
It is absolutely crazy.
That we can take a line drawing and we could create designs just like this. I mean, we've been at this for not even an hour. 48 minutes. and that was a bunch of rambling.
And a lot of rambling in between.
Yeah, it's just amazing to me. I mean, did you ever use any other digitizing software besides like the Brother Florian and stuff?
So I started with the Viking.
So, I mean, when you think about how complicated
that was not fun.
Digitizing was at the beginning. I mean, digitizing can still be complicated, so don't get me wrong. There are still some...
But they have simplified it.
Right.
By far compared to what I started with.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But this is absolutely, when you really think about it, and, this is like your auto digitizing, like we talked about, in your basic auto punch, whatever you want to call it, depending upon what software you have, what it calls it. But this is pretty darn good.
Yep.
And we could make this bigger, put it in I could totally.
Yeah.
We could totally strike this pose with this on our shirt.
We could.
I mean, how racking would we be?
I know. We should get started on that. We'll have our Wonder Woman shirts.
Right?
Yeah. So speaking of Wonder Woman shirts, I went to see Eternals this weekend. And the guy at the cash register, he looks at me. I get the tickets. He's like, "Are you a little bit confused about your superheroes?" I'm like, "Why would you say that?"
What were you wearing?
I had a Wonder Woman jacket on, and I had a Star Wars bag, and I was watching Eternal.
You were going to the Eternal show.
I had all of them.
You were covering all of your bases.
Covered all of my bases.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said, well, I like them all. What can I say? It's pretty funny though.
I support equally.
That's right. I support all of my superheroes equally.
That really is pretty cool.
Yes. Quite amazing that we did this in such a short
period of time.
With so few.
And honestly, I really like the hair instead of the solid fill. That's really sharp. It gives you quite the, well, first of all, yes, it took a little bit to start and stop it, but that the complete fill would have been crazy.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of stitches.
That would have been holy crow. It is time to get moving. We need to move.
That's too funny.
The watch says get going.
And my iPad did an update, and it's like messed up everything.
Oh yeah.
Like my watch, my phone, it has like affected
the linking of everything.
Yeah. I'm getting like weird messages. I don't recognize the pictures that I'm getting, and I'm like, So it is
totally
just
get the whole picture
so
thing.
Weird. And I don't want to say the Apple word for the helper, but he's been super helpful lately.
Yeah. So we are fast approaching finished here, guys.
Yeah, just a few more stitches. And we're done.
So if we had filled in everything, that running stitch would have just given us that outline, and that would have made a very big difference. So I'm going to just go ahead and muscle this out, and you can see what a great job that did in such a quick time of creating. So down here with that complete fill, that outline just gives you a nice crisp edge on the star. That's what the running stitch really is great at. If I had this on standard fabric instead of felt, these lines would have been much crisper, all on their own. But even that being said, there's no question what this is.
And like come in a little bit so we can see the spaces. So you can see that opening. So this is one of those places where we had that little
drew the line to close it, but we didn't draw a stitch line. So her scribbles only mattered to close. It didn't do anything with the stitch line itself. So that's where that no-sew line really is fantastic, because you just got to close it. It doesn't matter how crazy your drawing actually is.
Absolutely. So that's it. I mean,
that is using the design center, the IQ designer, to literally go from start to end, scanning something in, using the line, filling it using all of the different fills, changing the line into what it is that you want it to be, using different types of fills, and then editing all of those different pieces and saying, I want this. I want it to be this type. I want to link these pieces together. That link key will save you tons of time and heartache, because I missed that one.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear I missed that one. So using that chain link key there will take all of those types and make sure that you're getting all of them together. And you'll be much happier in the long run, because you won't accidentally forget one little tiny piece in there that's huge. I've done that, unfortunately, before I really understood what that was. Design Center didn't used to be this straightforward. It started out extremely confusing, and they have done such a beautiful job simplifying it and straight lining everything to where that streamline is. It takes you to start to finish, and it makes sense. It didn't used to make sense, unfortunately. It used to pop up this screen that was just like, I have no idea what it's asking me.
Absolutely.
So it's like Home Alone, like, I have no idea what I'm trying to do here. So, all of the titles and the explanations, you can take your time and really work through all of those different steps and walk through it. So how much fun it is to be able to create. Granted, it does have to be a simple, you can't go crazy. You can't take a picture of a person or, you know, your dog or something like that. But these straight line images come across beautifully and stitch out absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely. So and again, like Lisa was saying, if you take something that's a little bit complicated, you saw a couple weeks ago what happened, right? It doesn't always populate the stitches. It's a little bit complicated. So, you know, you can certainly try to do things that are a little bit more complicated, because the worst thing that can happen is it just doesn't work.
And it will tell you, it'll say, you know, that is too complicated to create. And to go back to that, if you remember, it was that mandala and we put in those fills. And so when it tried to create the embroidery design is when it said, ow, it hurts my brain too much. When I took the fill stitches out, it was able to create the line image. So one of the things that Caitlin never watches, so it's really safe to say, Caitlin absolutely loves to color. And what I would like to do is get a bunch of things like that and stitch and get her washable markers so she can color them over and over again and just throw them in the washing machine. It'll get rid of everything and she can start all over again. So those really intricate pieces, you can literally create a recolorable coloring book out of fabric and thread. And what a personalized gift that you could make for anybody. It could be things like this. It could be much more intricate for someone that's a little bit older. Literally whatever, you know, those kinds of things that you're looking for. So how much fun.
Yeah, tons and tons of fun. And there's so many things that you can do with this program if you start playing around with it. You really, we can't stress this enough. First of all, don't be afraid of it, because you all have fabric and you have some stabilizer. If you have a machine like this, you've been doing this for a little while. It's not usually your first machine. So you have a collection of stuff. You know, you've got some stuff that maybe you haven't touched in a while. Just put some fabric in there, scan some fabric, play around with stuff, you know.
And you know, a great thing, go to a Salvation Army or your local Goodwill or whatever, and pick up some things that are $1 or $2 if you want to try it out on some real clothes kind of thing, instead of just a scrap piece of fabric that maybe somebody could use if it turns out good. That's a great way of getting those samples of things that you can play with without having to spend a lot of money. You don't have to, you know, put a whole bunch of dough out to play.
Yeah. I mean, and even if it does turn out, if you don't have anybody to give to, re-gift it back to the...
Donate it back.
Right. You know...
And then they can sell it for more.
Right.
Because it's embroidered.
Yeah. And somebody gets something that's really cute. You know, a handmade gift. You're sharing your joy with somebody else.
You're happy with somebody else and giving something that somebody couldn't do themselves.
That's right.
So, you know, it's a great way of being able to find things to sew on that doesn't cost you a fortune. Unfortunately, blanks are out there, but they're not always super inexpensive. So it's a nice way to be able to grab a few things to play with and try out, you know, well, what would it be like to sew on fill in the blank? Find the blank and just go see, you know, what's out there.
100%. Yep.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I think it turned out super cute. Now it makes me want to go stitch out that other one that's got all of it colored in, but probably not for a little while yet because I got lots on my plate, but that's okay. That's what makes this so much fun. Hopefully we will see you guys soon. So come visit us in the booth. 221. I'm pretty sure it's 2. We're in the middle.
Yeah.
Come
We're
see
across
us.
from 224.
I think it's 221. It's 221. So come see us. And even if it's just to say hi, just because you're out there, we do have not just machines, but lots of machines and some really great deals. If you've been waiting, this is the time. And we actually have some inventory there. So come have some fun with us.
Some of these machines aren't coming back in stock until next year.
December, even January.
Yeah.
So now is the time, guys.
Absolutely.
We will see you there. If not, we'll see you next Tuesday. But we do plan to attempt, as long as we have a chance, to go live from Novi.
Yeah.
We'll do it. I don't know what we'll do, but
we
we'll
don't
do
know
something
when,
but we'll do it. And so if you're subscribed, you'll get notified when we do it. So
Yep.
subscribe if you haven't yet. So we'll see you guys then.
Bye,
Take care.
guys.
Bye.